Charlotte in the Know, hosted by Adrian Biddle, reporting on influential people, news, entertainment, and events pertaining to the city of Charlotte and nationally. Okay, Charlotte, it's time to be in the know.
All right, fam. Today I'm being joined by Darrell Bonapart, running for District 5 for the City Council of Charlotte. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's certainly my pleasure. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and actually jump into a couple of questions that I hope that you'll be able to answer for us. I know that I'm talking to a couple of the constituents in District 5, and they had prompted me to ask some of these questions. So the first one, and this is just me personally, what actually led you to want to run for City Council?
Well, I've been involved in government for many years. So I didn't actually just decide on this is my first time. I ran for this seat that I'm currently running for now in District 5 in East Charlotte. I ran in 2011, and I missed it by 66 votes at that time. It's extremely close. But I have been involved in my community and here in Charlotte for the last 19 years, very, very strong, and seeing what things that are needing to be done. As a lay citizen, I saw so much in my involvement with the community, dealing with the city council, school board, county commissioner, what have you, and working to get things done on behalf of our community. I see that as a lay citizen, you can get quite a bit done as a community, but you need to have someone present that's really feeling the pulse of the community, really there working hard and tirelessly to get the things done that we are needing done. And because it's been many, many years we've been complaining and working on the same issues that have yet to be resolved. And I feel very confident in my ability to be able to resolve many of the issues that we're still dealing with here in East Charlotte.
All right, understood. One of the issues that I noticed that you were running on is homelessness. If voted in, how would you address that?
Well, I'm a part of a task force right now. And we are addressing our issue of homelessness and in a way that no one else has, not in the city, but the city of Memphis, Tennessee, believe it or not, has shown us a great model of partnership between the church community, a private-public partnership in providing the real estate that is needed, that we are short on, to build housing for homeless. So it's a public-private partnership, and I'm a part of the steering committee that's going to be bringing a project called the Mayfield Project, which is after the church Mayfield Memorial Baptist Church located on Sugar Creek Road. However, there are church communities around Charlotte that has agreed to build affordable housing unit on their available land mass that is all throughout Charlotte. They call it by 2030. The land mass that we have that we're building on now in the city of Charlotte will be used up. And so we have the church community that are agreeing to help us with affordable housing that will be able to house the homeless and get people out of the homeless shelters. We have families in homeless shelters now going to work every day and going back to the shelter because a lot of our homeless can't afford the average $1,100 a month rental that this city is at right now. And so we have to think outside of the box to address that issue. And in addition, I have an organization called Barefoot to Promise that we partner with a coalition that deals strictly with homeless children in the CMS school system. So I've already been involved deeply with addressing the issues of homelessness for the past several years. And it is a magnanimous task because our city council has allowed a tremendous amount of development and gentrification that has actually caused our increased problem of homelessness. Which was proven by the UNCC study of 2015 of the gentrification of all of our especially our inner city and west side communities. Thousands of residents have been displaced and caused them to be homeless through that process of gentrification.
That is interesting. Yes, I was going to actually ask you about that group that you have that helps homeless kids. But I would just let you know that that's very admirable that you actually have started up a project like that to actually help with that. another concern that you are running on is addressing transportation. What ideas do you have to address that as well, sir?
Well, when it comes to, first and foremost, I would say I am the only candidate that stood against City Council agreeing to bring tolls, highway tolls, into Charlotte. Highway tolls do not decrease traffic and does not reduce the issue of pollution on which the congestion of vehicles cause. Highway tolls puts money in this case, a company that's headquartered in Spain is going to put millions and millions of dollars in their pocket over a 50-year contract. And now we're going to have highway toll on 77, 485, and Independence Boulevard as a result of the City Council voting yes last year in 2016, even though myself and hundreds of residents provided them factual information why it's not a good idea and the history of that company and what they've done across the country as far as bankrupting other projects around the country. In transportation, mass transit is what this city is needing. We should have been focusing on that many years ago. They're trying to bring it in now, but now it's more expensive, so it prolongs the process of getting mass transit. Independence Boulevard is the most highly ridden highway in this Mecklenburg County. And it was proven many years ago, which we were thought to get the light rail before South Boulevard did. But we were bamboozled in East Charlotte. And as an elected official, I'm going to make sure that we are absolutely prioritized with putting light rail in spite of toll road down the middle of Independence Boulevard, that we have the light rail structure put in place that is going to benefit now really our future generation, because it probably take another 30 years for us to have it fully implemented, and we'll be at a retirement stage. But at least we'll finally get it done, because it should not have been overlooked for all these years with the amount of congestion. But mass transit is what this city has to have. That's the future of the country, actually. If you want to reduce pollution, you want to get people where they need to go in a way that's going to be efficient, not make them have to rely upon vehicles and spending tons of money on that and pollution. We got to do our best to put the mass transit in place. That's what I'm in favor of, and any means of getting that type of transportation in place, whether it be trains, improving upon or increasing the bus service and correcting the connectivity of buses, and not having to go all the way uptown to transfer to a bus to get somewhere in your same side of town, which is the craziest thing. But that is still the case in many areas in this city, and even East Charlotte, that it doesn't have good connectivity. You literally have to go uptown and transfer to another bus to get to an area that's in your neighborhood when you're riding a bus, instead of being able to just connect where you are. That is prehistoric planning, and we have to improve upon the connectivity, the mass transit implementation, and also the alternate means of transportation, such as biking, and where we can safely put biking lanes, then do so, as long as it does not reduce or impede the amount of traffic that we already have. We should allow safety measures to be put in place for people to continue who like to bike to work and use biking to get around, and instead of automobile. So, but that is a focus of mine, is to improve upon and implement mass transit as efficiently as quickly as possible within East Charlotte and in the surrounding areas of Charlotte that are still affected by the mass congestion that we have.
Yes, that was a wealth of information, and you pretty much touched on a lot of issues that are evident in the community as far. And hearing some of the information that you provided just a moment ago, it would be sorely appreciated in the community today. And I'm glad that your ideas, you pretty much have those ideas actually put forward going forward, hopefully if voted in office. Let me ask you this as well. Economic growth is also something that's on your radar. How would you look to spur on economic growth in 5 or the surrounding area?
Well, District 5 was hurt badly. East Charlotte as a whole was hurt badly when the city and the state started the project about 10, 15 years ago with widening Independence Boulevard. We lost thousands of jobs as a result of that wall, that empty wall that's in the middle of Independence Boulevard was put there. And they were telling us it was initially for express bus lanes, but now we know it's for highway toll. And we lost a lot of jobs because of that project, as well as when the city allowed Eastland Mall to degrade and close. And it hurts East Charlotte's economic standing badly in the most negative way, to see the largest regional mall in the entire state of North Carolina be allowed to become dilapidated and eventually close and be torn down. And the protection of those businesses that provided so many jobs was not there at all. So what I propose, and I've been the only candidate to propose, is the same as what the city council did for Center City as what they did for University City. They voted in favor of, and they created Center City Partners as well as University City Partners. And you see what's happening in the greater uptown area as well as what's happening in University City. And City Council voted to implement those two organizations that are there for the marketing support, for the sustainability of the businesses and the residential communities, to make sure they market those areas, bring in new business, and support the current businesses with the proper marketing that is needed for branding those areas as family-friendly, community, business-friendly, and education-friendly. So that is what has happened to those areas, and I have for the last 10 years said that is something that must happen in East Charlotte region as well, that we have that same outpouring of support from City Council to create a Charlotte East Partners that will be supported and funded by the city to do the branding and marketing of businesses that are there and to show who we are so we can attract new businesses to bring in the job that is needed, much needed in East Charlotte. We have over 100,000 residents in the East Charlotte District 5, but less than 16,000 jobs, which is why our city bus number 9 is the most highly ridden city bus in the area, because people have to leave out of East Charlotte to go to work, to find work, because the jobs are not there. And then on top of that, we're dealing with a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour in the state of North Carolina and the city of Charlotte. They were successful in raising the minimum wage for city government employees, but because of the HB2, state legislature made it so that no municipality can raise the minimum wage within their municipality if they wanted to. So I had proposed, as the only candidate to do so, that we approach as many businesses as possible that will voluntarily raise the minimum wage of their employees, and then we provide them a great tax incentive that will offset them raising the minimum wage of their employees, that will also benefit the businesses by providing them the tax incentive that will offset them doing so. And therefore, it's a win-win, because the more money someone is able to make, the more they can spend. So the tax still comes into the economy from the employees that will have more money to spend, be able to provide better housing for themselves and for their families, and be able to get whatever other means of resources to live. So it's a win-win for the economy still. But we have to think outside the box. When things are made tough, sometimes you got to come with a plan that can get around those situations. And those are some of the plans that I propose, as well as we provide affordable housing. I'm a part of the steering committee to provide affordable housing units with a public-private partnership with church community. Churches have a lot of real estate, and so we have churches that are now agreeing to be a part of the Mayfield project, which will build affordable housing, as I was mentioning, and getting people out of those homeless shelters. And in doing so, we're also going to be implementing or installing solar panels on those properties that will allow for jobs to be created. We want those people that are going to be moving into those communities, as well as those within the surrounding communities, to be able to get the training and certification to know how to install solar panels, create jobs throughout the city area. California has shown the country how to be successful in creating green energy jobs and also becoming green energy efficient and reducing your energy costs and usage, and also creating the jobs that are paid very well. We're talking about jobs that can pay $25 to $50 an hour when you're doing solar panel installation and maintenance. And so we need to start focusing on that intensely, because we're dealing with a company that is headquartered here. It's the largest energy company in the country, Duke Energy, but we can still keep relying on nuclear energy, because you see all the coal ash and other things that is polluting our waterways. We can create jobs and save the economy all at the same time by going green.
Those are some very insightful information that you actually just proposed and actually hopefully get a chance to implement. Now, being a native of Charlotte and as well a fellow alum of Garinger High School, Does this give you a greater insight on what is needed for District 5 and the rest of the city of Charlotte, you think?
Well, being born and raised here has given me a awesome insight. Being intensely involved in what's going on in Charlotte has even given me more insight because I've been around the who's who and what's what. I've served on committees that I've been pointed to by the city council. I've served on state boards, seeing what's going on at the state level and how it affects the local society. And I've been, serving in the military in the North Carolina Army National Guard, and in that capacity, seeing how what we do there also affects the local economy. Believe it or not, there's a lot of things that has a cause and effect. And I've had the opportunity to see a lot of things that this city has grown from the small country town that we used to be, and we're not that anymore. I know a lot of people don't want to try to hold on to it, even myself at one point, but we're not that anymore. The population has grown astronomically, and we will be at 1 million within the city limits of Charlotte within at least the next 8 to 10 years. It could be even quicker than that. But we have a lot of things to learn and to adjust to because this is not the Charlotte that we grew up in. We've lost a lot of our historical value. When you mentioned Garringer, the first high school in the city of Charlotte, that was the only high school at one point in the city of Charlotte. And it was uptown, which is now called Central Piedmont, but that was the original Garringer High School. That's why they have a Garringer building uptown and on that campus. And Garringer is one of the historic monuments we have. And we need to learn to embrace our historical aspects of our city and stop wasting all of the opportunities that we have to grow in a responsible manner, but not do away with those people and those places that have been the foundation of this city for many, many years. And Charlotte has at many times done a bad job of preserving our history. And we know we're moving forward, but everything doesn't have to be done away with as we move forward. Some things we need to allow to remain in place historically to remind people who we are, what we were, and what we don't ever want to be or what we want to continue to be as a role model. And so Garringer, I think, for example, is one of those things that we should have worked to preserve as a role model of how you can sustain yourself and still be viable all of these years later since the 1930s, how that school has shown its viability. Our East Charlotte is just as viable because it's in East Charlotte, and we need to see everything preserved and given the proper respect and representation that we've been neglected to have for the last 10 years. That's why we've seen so much negative change in East Charlotte. Negative publicity. The media has been attacking us and from all sides. We have not gotten the proper resources provided to us. Job loss has not been job replacement. We are fighting as lay citizens when the elected officials that we have in place should be the ones fighting for us harder than we are fighting. And if you live in our community, so you should be fighting for our community just like we are doing as lay citizens, and we haven't been getting that. And that's what I intend to bring. I've always had it, but I intend to bring it so that they can see a new face, a new way, and a better way to bring the results that East Charlotte deserves and greatly needs.
Mr. Bonapart, this has been a very informative interview today, and I appreciate you actually joining me today to actually get your views out. And I'd like to wish you the best of luck with this upcoming election. And for the listeners that's out there listening, please get out and vote. I want you to get out there and vote. Man, there's a lot of great ideas that you just got through hearing. So I hope that you have the opportunity to do your civic duty and getting out and doing the vote. And again, I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you. Do I have 30 seconds to say one more thing?
Oh, by all means, sir. Please do.
What I wanted to share as well is that human trafficking is one of my top 3 issues to address. Charlotte, North Carolina, our city is ranked number 5 in the nation in human trafficking. It's a multi-billion-dollar crime industry, and we have a serious situation in this city and in East Charlotte of human trafficking, victims, young men and women that have been snatched from their families, that are imprisoned, that have been brutalized, that are being traveled and exported from Charlotte to Atlanta, which is the most widely used corridor in the eastern United States to traffic human beings. I'm the only candidate that has that as a focus, that has been speaking on it, and that has been a part of a task force to save lives and get these criminals out of our city. We've had the United States Attorney General's office to come here to Charlotte to speak on how bad the situation is in this city, especially when we have large conferences and events here in Charlotte. Think about those young men and women who are locked up in hotels and brothels around this city against their will and being abused on a daily basis at the hands of these criminals. And we have got to get ourselves out of this ranking and save the lives of these young men and women. And we have massage parlors, and even within East Charlotte, that are identified that of human sex trafficking, and it's a horrible situation that we must eradicate out of this city. And again, I am the only candidate that's been focused on it, as even speaking on it. And I guess they want to protect the brand of Charlotte, but by protecting the brand, you're allowing people to suffer and die a loneliness because of being in this being victim of this crime. So we need to have persons in place that are not going to let the forgotten remain forgotten. I know who they are, and I've seen and met people who we rescued from this horrible situation. And we need to put that focus on that, as well as the homelessness and the job market, and bettering our transportation and improving the economy and being prepared for the growth that Charlotte's going to have for the next 25 to 30 years very fast. We're going to have to build up, and as we build up, let's not forget those that are down there waiting for us to bring them up. And that is those who are homeless, those who are being victimized, those who are without jobs. We have to do a better job at the city council. And I look forward to being that representative to do that for East Charlotte and for the entire city.
Wow, I didn't even know that was going on in East Charlotte as well. And see, you're probably the only candidate, like you just mentioned, that I even heard anything referring to sex trafficking. So I appreciate you bringing that out to the masses as well, your concerns and actually trying to address that. So, fam, if you want somebody who's going to actually make a change, especially for District 5 and to the surrounding parts of the District 5, vote for this man. And Mr. Bonapart, again, I definitely appreciate you joining me today and actually sharing your views and what you're actually wanting to address if voted into the city council.
Thank you very much, and they can see the rest of my platform on www.darrellbonapart.com to see my last 20 years of experience in government and leadership and what I intend to bring in leadership role for the city of Charlotte. Thank you for having me. I hope you have a very awesome day.